This video is brought to you in collaboration with wowhead.com. Hello everyone! Within patch 8.2, we saw, despite our best efforts, the release of the old god Ny'alotha, an old god free of its chains, something unseen ever since the Titans they showed up to bring order to the planet. He promised us that
all eyes shall be open.
In patch 8.2.5, we saw the Black Dragon Ebonhorn feeling quite the effects from Ny'alotha. So much so that we were going to need some help for him. His brother Rafi already did quite a bit of extensive research in fighting against the corruption. We tried to track him down, but were unable to. We did find some handy knowledge though, and the help that Ebonhorn needed. It's a good thing that we put so much effort into creating Rafi all the way back during the Cataclysm. Even then, we saw that Ny'alotha was trying to break out of his prison with his corrupted servants like Deathwing the Destroyer. He was once charged with guarding the world, but his connection to it, he made him more vulnerable to the whispers of the old gods, and he ultimately fell to their madness, and not just the aspects, but nearly his entire Black Dragon flight. That's why we experimented and created Rafi to once again see an uncorrupted Black Dragon, a true Earth Warden. And while we did succeed in that mission, Rafi, he was not going to let himself be controlled and find his own methods of getting the job done.
Deathwing's minions should be afraid of me. Get him out of here. Ugh. And Farad?
Yes, sir.
Break his legs.
We might give him a break, considering his young age. But so far, his plans haven't really worked out. When he sensed the coming of the Legion during Mist of Pandaria, he decided to play the factions against each other and have one conquer the other so that they could focus on the real threats, safeguarding Azeroth and fight back against the Legion. Now that plan failed, as Garrosh was put on trial. The next scheme was to set Garrosh free to an alternate reality and have him form a brand new horde. Have that horde stand with us against the Legion. But like Rafi, Garrosh was not down for being controlled. He did indeed form his Iron Horde, not for the defense of Azeroth, but to conquer it. The events of Warlords of Draenor played out, in which we stopped Garrosh, but also saw alternate Gul'dan sent over to our Azeroth. Once there, he opened the gateway for the Legion to come in, so indirectly, Rafi, he caused the very thing that he was so worried about. Some time has passed since then. He's grown out of his whelp phase, and hopefully his research is going to be a valuable asset in our coming war against Ny'alotha.
You mean to tell me none of your spies have returned? Ny'alotha is out there, and we need answers now!
We are doing all we can. Speaker Magni is coming, along with a new advisor. He claims to have information for us.
By the light. A new advisor. Rathian.
Anduin, it's been so long.
Oh, dragons.
I suppose I deserved that.
Oh, you deserve more than that. My father is dead because of you!
And my father is dead because of the old gods.
Lad, he's come to help us.
Neltharion the Earth Warder was once the protector of Azeroth. But Ny'alotha turned a noble mind to madness, and now my father is only remembered as Deathwing. And, as I haven't the least desire to share that fate, I've been studying how to avoid it.
Just tell me how to prepare for this attack. Our armies
Will be useless. Ny'alotha will strike here. He'll manipulate emotions, get people to act in ways contrary to their nature. You won't be able to trust your senses, your memories, your friends. After all, what is real if our perceptions cannot be trusted? Anduin, Anduin! Don't you see, old friend? It's already begun.
Very well, advisor. Tell us how to stop him.
One of the most asked questions about this cutscene is why does Anduin blame Rafi for the death of his father? And as I explained at the start, Rafi, he pretty much caused the events of Legion. Alternate Gul'dan was there because he helped set Garrosh free, betrayed Anduin's friendship that they built up during Mist of Pandaria, and on the Broken Shore, Varian lost his life to the demons. By that logic, you can make a big list of people to blame for Varian's death. But that's the thing that's going on right now. While the King of Stormwind, he worries about preparing their troops for N'Zoth's assault, he fails to realize that they're already under attack.
Well, that was a pleasant reunion. Champion, I will await you in Silithus.
Sorry to spring that on you, lad. But before we go, I have a favor to ask.
Even our speaker for Azeroth knows that it is time to get his hands dirty and joins the fight with Fearbreaker in hand. He once gifted this to Anduin just before he was turned into a crystal, and Anduin in turn gave it to Bane Bloodhoof. With it, the Tauren even saved Garrosh's life, but felt like he couldn't keep it with the Horde marching on Faramir. Now, this ancestral hammer of the Bronzebeard clan, it's back into the hands of the king. Let's get to work and figure out some way to fight against N'Zoth.
My Black Talon operatives have... In my research, I came across references to a place called Ny'alotha, a sleeping city of numberless crimes, where only dark things walk. But the Void deals in potentials, possibilities. Perhaps this Ny'alotha is not so much a physical location on Azeroth, as it is a vision, waiting to be made real.
Whatever it is, we've got to get Azeroth's Titan-made defenses ready. Then you and our champion need to find us a target to point them at.
Ny'alotha has been mentioned and teased for quite a while now. Archaeologist with the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, you might recall the maddening clues and the incapability of opening up the box. We never really knew much about the realm, besides it being deeply connected to the old gods. And now, N'Zoth is trying to bring Ny'alotha to us. This alternate world, inhabited by the old gods and their minions. It's actually all around us, just on the side of a thin veil which N'Zoth is tearing down. It's going to take a whole lot of firepower to stand up against this. Even the Titan forces way back, they struggled to defeat the Black Empire, but perhaps the machines that they left behind are going to be our ticket to salvation. Mother checks them out for us. Uldir, where we faced G'huun, it's operating within acceptable parameters. Uldaman, also fine, the Discs of Norgannon still doing their thing. Ulduar and his Forge of Wills, it seems to be intact, but Uldum and the Forge of Origination, that comes back with an error. This forge, like the Forge of Wills, it was placed here during the days of the Titans to help the Titan spirit inside the planet grow, but it also has another function, resetting the planets in case the old god's corruption became too much. This is what we stopped Elgalon from activating during Wrath of the Lich King. We prevented Deathwing from getting his hands on it during the Cataclysm, and it's what the Tol'vir used to defeat Leishan the Thunder King when he showed up to claim it. Back then, they calibrated the weapon that it would no longer purify all of Azeroth. Instead, it would just hit the lands of Uldum itself, taking out Leishan and transforming the land into the desert as we see it as today. Together with Magni, we check out what is going on, why the forge is inactive, and inside, we run into the Amafets.
Oh, it's been ages since I've held a hammer in my hands. Feels good to be back in the action.
Intruders! You dare defile this place with the curse of flesh?
Sargeras stabbing the world at the end of Legion. It unearthed a bunch of new tombs in the lands of Uldum, and that is where the Amafet emerged from. Now, they're not in league with N'Zoth, but that doesn't make them our allies either. In their eyes, the world is too far gone, and it is time to use that Forge of Origination to purge the entire planet, rather than point it directly at N'Zoth. We don't have the time to sit down and negotiate working together either. So we fight our way through the halls, we deactivate the Forge defenses, and we power up the elevator until we run into Sun Prophet Tenhamen, who's actually a Naraki, or a faceless one, a minion of the old gods.
I grow tired of this ruse.
Such misplaced zeal. Their eyes remain closed to the true path. Not like you, my devoted chosen.
Champion, are you there? I thought we lost you for a second. If Ny'alotha's minions are inside the forge, then this is worse than we thought. We have to hurry. Come on!
For those of you that have been asking, I haven't found any special interactions for those that kept the Eye of Ny'alotha on their heads, nor have I seen anyone post about it. If you did notice something new or different, then by all means let us know, cause for now, it's just nice to know that Ny'alotha things were special. Time to make our way to the console and set up a connection to the Chamber of Hearts.
Circuit established. Restoring power. Error. Forge operating at 37% efficiency.
37? That can't be enough to keep Azeroth protected.
Affirmative. Additional power sources required. Initiating query for suitable alternatives. Stand by.
It looks like our work isn't done, champion.
We got the forge working again, but it's a little bit low on juice. So while Mother is figuring out a way to fix that problem, we meet up with the Tol'vir, our old friends in Ramkahen, to see if we can help keep the Forge of Origination secured. The king is already in a meeting with the Waste Wanders, led by Arik Scorpetsting. The Waste Wanders don't exactly have the best reputation. You might recall collecting Caliph Scorpetsting head in Tanaris, but at times like these, we can use all the help we can get.
We know little of the Amethet, save that they believe themselves the sole defenders of the Titan's great works. In their eyes, all others are corrupted by the curse of flesh, and are enemies of the Makers. It is imperative that they be kept away from the Forge. To the west, another threat looms. Terrible monstrosities have emerged from the sands and gather in great numbers. Though we suspect they hail from Ankh-Karaj, they are unlike any Karaji or Silithid we have faced before. And worst of all, our priests are plagued by unrelenting nightmares. They see our cities burning to ash, and our people turning against each other. I fear that these visions are but the harbinger of something far more dire. We must prepare ourselves for disaster. It is clear that Ramkahen cannot face these menaces alone. I propose an accord with those here today, that we band together and defend our home. You cannot be serious. I will not partner with grave robbers and bandits. You will obey your king. All who would fight for Uldum are allies of Ramkahen.
The Waste Wanders stand with you, King Phaoris.
The League's got your back too.
Very well. Together, we will vanquish all who threaten our home. For Uldum.
The Uldum Accord is established, which unlocks our daily quests. Time to get to work and defend the lands of Uldum against any threats like the Amethet and the minions of Ny'alotha. Some of you have also asked if Ny'alotha has his own kind of bug race evolution. As we've seen in the past, the Akir have evolved differently. Under the influence of Kavun, they became creatures like the Siliphids. Yogg-Saron, he had his Nerubians. Y'Shaarj, he had his Mentids. But I don't recall Ny'alotha having his own specific bug race. But really, who needs them when he nearly got all of the others on his side? So after helping out in Uldum, filling up the bar and securing another day, Mother has come up with a plan.
Forge operating at reduced capacity. Recommendation: reroute power from compatible Titan facilities.
So the forge was not damaged beyond repair. How fortuitous. It is unlike Ny'alotha to resort to brute force.
All of the other forges are working full-time to protect Azeroth. Is there anywhere else we can get that power?
Schematics indicate compatibility between Forge of Origination and Engine of Ny'alotha.
That's it then. Looks like we're heading to Pandaria.
You might remember this engine if you partied during Mist of Pandaria. The Titan facility, it was repurposed by Lei Shen the Thunder King to further expand his empire's power. Or maybe you might recall many failed attempts at getting the mount here. Either way, the engine, it would give us enough power for the forge. When we get there, we discover that we're not the only ones with plans for the facility.
Careful, hero. One of these Mogu is still kicking.
Honored Speaker, I would have words with you.
You what? Well, that's peculiar.
We must make haste. The manted...
Foolish Mogu. These vaults now belong to the Empress.
The Mantids are swarming the lands of Pandaria once again. Quite soon after, we first help them with disposing of the corrupted Empress, only to see them ally with Garrosh and the Heart of Y'Shaarj. Following the events of Mist of Pandaria, a new Empress is hatched, as we learned from turning in the Sonic Stone, which is an item you can pick up from the island expeditions. Grand Empress Shexara has thrown their allegiance with the old god Ny'alotha. The Mogu warrior Tsao tried to fight them off, and he gave his life in doing so. Quite interesting that he does want us to find his clan though, as the Mogu, they've been extremely hostile to us, especially with the return of Lei Shen. Perhaps our old friend Lorewalker Cho can fill us in what happened to the Mogu and where we can find his clan.
Jade Serpent Guy. As you know, the Mogu clans were once again united by the resurrected Thunder King Lei Shen. After his defeat, the Mogu splintered and began warring for dominance. Many new clans arose from the ashes. Perhaps this sigil belongs to one of them. Let's begin our search with my copy of the Serpent Masters.
Neither the Zanchen, Dokani or the Baruch clans used the sigil that we found. Could it be that we've not encountered these Mogu before? One last home, it might hold the answers. His copy of the origins of the Mogu.
Originally, the Mogu served the Titans as builders and guardians. Those who answered to High Keeper Raden were known as the Rajani. Remarkable. This sigil matches that of the Rajani. Is it possible that this ancient clan has been resurrected? And what of Raden?
High Keeper Ra, or Raden in the Mogu tongue, was the one who ordered the Mogu to keep an eye on the Veil in Pandaria, while he went about doing his thing, placing defenses at the Forge of Origination, tied to keeper stuff that he was doing, until far, far away, the Titans were struck down by Sargeras. The other keepers did sense that something had happened to their creators, but Raden understood the full truth of the matter. Realizing that their creators had perished, he became quite depressed and didn't keep up with his keeper duties. The Mogu in the meantime got hit with the curse of flesh, started to form clans, eventually enslave Pandaria, all kinds of nasty things. And of course, we saw the rise of Lei Shen the Thunder King, who found Raden, stole his powers, and decided that if the keeper wasn't going to perform his duties, then he would do it instead. He set out to fulfill the mission of the Titans, but in his own way, in his own vision, one that the rest of Pandaria suffered under greatly. Raden was chained up and kept beneath the throne of thunder for millennia, until we found him during Mist of Pandaria, still quite depressed, and certain that we couldn't stand up against the darkness locked away beneath the worlds. After smacking some sense into him, he still didn't believe that we could do it, but we had earned the right to try, flying away as a ball of energy. That was pretty much the last time that we saw him. Now, after picking up some Mogu intel, we uncover where the Rajani are hanging out, and wouldn't you know it, the High Keeper is with them.
As you have seen, the Mantid have begun to swarm. I did not realize they had grown so bold as to invade Mogushan vaults. This is far too early for another cycle to begin. The rise of their new empress must have spurred them to action. Meanwhile, our scouts report that a massive Mogu army is assembling in the north, in numbers not seen since the days of Lei Shen. With the attention of the Golden Lotus divided, the Mogu clearly see an opportunity to conquer the Veil and subjugate everyone within. Most troubling of all, though the Veil has been cleansed of the Shah's corruption, a tangible sense of dread lingers in the air. The High Keeper speaks of a looming threat that we are powerless to stop. I cannot draw him out of his malaise. Perhaps you will fare better.
Seems like Raden is back to his old negative self. Time to smack some sense into him by showing that we are not powerless. The Mogu, the Mented, and even the Zas minions, they can fall before our blades. Like in Uldum, we do our daily quest here, we fill up the bar, pick up a Conqueror's trophy as proof of victory, and we show it to Raden. We have proven him wrong before, and we get the chance to do so again. Like the Forge of Origination, which spreads across the entirety of Uldum, the engine of Ny'alotha, it spans the entirety of Pandaria. That means that there are more ways of getting in there, like through the Mogushan Palace. They have upgraded its defenses a bit since the last time that we partied here. There are now living statues, spike from the walls and ceilings. There are tiles on the floor that hurt a lot. The poor Saurok trapped inside, they're forced to cannibalism just to survive. But with Magni at our sides, we reach the Mogushan vaults.
I did it! Now, let's see where this passage leads. Maybe we should have brought a torch. Been a while since I've had to walk for this long. Wait, I think we're here. Now, let's find the engine.
Intruders have breached the vaults. Leave none alive!
The repository is being taken over by N'Zoth's corruption and Mented. Time to put a stop to their plans.
Do you feel the frenzy of the swarm? They know what is coming. They know you will be its herald.
Champion, are you still with me? I'm starting to worry about you. But right now, we have to focus on the engine. Come on!
Swarm God Zas is frantically trying to finish their ritual and keep us away from the engine. Yoxiv, the manifestation of N'Zoth, he has a big purple pool covering where we need to be. Time to take it out, and as Magni says,
go for the eye! There we go! You can use that console to connect us to the Chamber of Heart.
Remote link established. Awaiting circuit completion.
Hold your horses, lass! This thing didn't exactly come with instructions. Ouch! That stung! Wait! It all makes sense now! Connecting the power circuit! What's this? Interesting! I'll remember that for later. There! The link is up!
Acknowledged. Rerouting power to Forge of Origination.
We did it, hero! The Forge is drawing power from the engine of Ny'alotha Shah. And I found something in the archives that could turn the tide against N'Zoth.
Our persistence fills Raden with hope, and as caretaker of the Forge, his aid would be invaluable. It's decided. Stormkeeper is going to stay here and lead Rajani in defense of the engine. With our aid, of course. While Raden, he joins the others at the Chamber of Hearts.
Such a magnificent facility. It looks to be of Arcadis' make. Odd that I was unaware of its existence.
Aye. We only found this place because Azeroth herself showed us the way. Mother, Can you tell us how to focus the Forge's energies against N'alotha?
Affirmative. Precision execution of origination protocol, possible via remote triangulation. Successful deployment of calibrated targeting anchors requires proximity to source of contamination.
In other words, we need to place these anchors close to N'alotha himself, which means braving the very heart of the Black Empire.
Anyone setting foot inside that accursed place would be driven to madness.
Not only did we juice up the Forge, we now also have a plan of attack. But going into Ny'alotha, it's a suicide mission if we don't properly prepare and defend ourselves against the madness. That's where Rafi comes in, and while he works out a plan, Mother, she sorts out the Forge, but something's not quite right. There's an unidentified anomaly. Considering that our Tol'vir allies did not raise any alarms, it must be contained within the facility.
Look! Across the sand! That must be the anomaly! Wait! Do you feel that? Something's wrong.
No, it has already begun. Champion, you must resist N'alotha's influence. Do not give in to madness.
This horrific vision. This is what N'alotha is trying to push into our reality, an echo of the Black Empire. Unprotected, our emotions are scattered around and our sanity quickly drains. N'alotha, he's trying to gain access to the Forge and leverage its power. Somehow, we need to find a way to get through this long enough to end the vision and find its source of corruption. Time for Rafi to play his part, and not just him, but the legacy of the Black Dragonflight is going to aid us. Where in life, Onyxia and Nefarian were great threats to the world. In death, their skills are going to aid us greatly.
N'alotha's forces have seized Nefarian's lair. Make haste, champion. There can be only one reason they are here.
You will serve the Master, or die. Ah, the infamous Black Prince. Such an honor to finally meet you. Behold the work of your fallen kin. Fear not, his efforts will not go to waste.
These cultists intend to revive Nefarian's experiments. We must stop them. Eliminate the ones conducting the research. I will bring down the barrier.
In life, Nefarian performs a horrific experiments to accomplish his goal of creating the chromatic dragonflights. These were dragons that combined the colors and powers of all the different flights into one. Many experiments have failed, but the few that did succeed, they were truly horrific to behold. It appears that N'alotha's forces, they want to take that and infuse it with delicious void, as at the Athenaeum, we run into Vexiona again.
At last! The Black Prince graces us with his presence.
The Black Dragon flight was unworthy of the Master's gifts, but you can still be of use to him. Begin the ritual. The Master has summoned me to Ny'alotha. Our lesser creations can slay the Prince's companion.
I say again, as Vexiona also showed up during the Heart of Azeroth questline, in which she tried to corrupt Alexstrasza's brood into more of these void Twilight Dragon kinds. Kalecgos, Alexstrasza, and of course we as heroes, we chased her off, as she promised us that she was going to find others to accept her master's power. Meanwhile, Rafi is not offered a choice. Like his father before him, the Void is now trying to corrupt our Black Dragon friends, but he has learned much, not to mention that he has us at his side to help him out.
It was child's play to lure you here. This tiresome obsession with your Dragonflight's legacy will be your undoing. Using your essence, we will raise Nefarian and Onyxia to serve N'alotha. In the Master's name, their wings will darken the skies once more.
I will see you burn for this! Enough! You cannot break me like you broke my father!
The Black Dragonflight will purge your master from Azeroth!
Impudent dragon! All of your kind will bow before N'alotha!
With me, champion! Let us bring this to an end!
Kinda cool to see that there is now more depth given to Rafi, as not only does he focus on the defense of Azeroth, he's also very motivated to change history, to somewhat redeem the Black Dragonflight by winning this fight against N'alotha. He even went out of his way to help Ebonhorn, his only brother as he calls it. Now, there are more Black Dragons out there that showed up during island expeditions, as well as Sibelian, still stuck in Outland as far as we know, but perhaps Rafi does not.
Recover their scales once it is done. Those, at least, will aid us in protecting Azeroth. I entrust the scales to you, champion. Return to the Chamber of Heart, so that we might wield them against N'alotha.
A brand new cloak handed out by Rafi. It's almost like we're back in Mist of Pandaria. This is what's going to give us our protection while wandering the horrific visions of N'alotha, and be super useful in the upcoming raid, Ny'alotha, the Awaking City. Right now, it's a bit small though. It doesn't quite pack the defense that we're looking for, but that will come in just a moment. Let's first give this baby a test run and return to the vision at the Halls of Origination.
The deeper you delve into N'alotha's vision, the stronger his influence becomes. Even with the cloak, your sanity will erode more quickly, and your senses will begin to betray you.
These visions, they're not real, but N'alotha, he wants to make it real. As Rafi told us, if you can't trust your senses, then who's to say what is real? N'alotha has been set free for quite a while now. Has anything that happened in between, has anything been real? Who knows? A question for the philosophers. But for now, let's trust that what we're doing is going to save the day. Let Rafi's voice guide the way.
Champion, look at the console.
You are
N'alotha never
too
meant to
late.
destroy the Forge. He seeks to corrupt it.
The Forge belongs to the
Mother,
Master.
see if you can bring our champion back to the chamber. We have much to discuss.
Mother, you reconfigured the engine of Ny'alotha to power the Forge of Origination. Incredible. The level of expertise that would require. You are most impressive. I would appreciate the opportunity to converse with you further on the matter.
Just a little bit out of exile, and Raden becomes very interested in Mother. And really, who can blame him? Reality is tearing apart around us, not just at the halls, but at many more locations, like the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. We need to go inside to check out what N'alotha wants to accomplish. While we're there, we pick up some coalescing visions that Rafi can use to make our very own tears, enter their visions on our own terms. It is a bit risky, making such a portal right here in the Chamber of Hearts, but it's going to be worth the risk, as from inside these visions, we can pick up information and power to further defend ourselves against the madness of N'alotha. Visions like an Orgrimmar with a thrall convinced that the Horde should drink, not demonic blood this time, but the blood of an old god. You can decide to just go for the end boss, or you might want to help out other sections of the city. Doing so is going to take more time, increase the risk of falling to madness, and it also adds possibilities of the wings to your end boss fights, which means that this is a risk versus reward kind of situation, and don't worry, Stormwind does not escape the gaze of N'alotha. A fun scenario to go into just by yourself or with a group of up to 5. Purchase upgrades and abilities to make your next trip easier, or fail 3 times in a row like I did, and now if you have to catch up next week. It's all good fun. That's what we're going to do to prepare for our trip into Ny'alotha. But opening up a rift into N'alotha's domain, that's just asking for trouble.
Never let your guard down.
Opens. The path made clear.
That voice! Where's it coming from?
The sleeping city awakens. The Black Empire Reborn.
We're under attack! Protect the chamber!
The obelisks are what anchor him here. We need to destroy them.
My eternal vision made real.
There's no end to them!
The final truth given form. Behold, Ny'alotha.
We're going to lose the chamber! There's no way to stop him!
There is always a way. Save our world, champion, no matter the cost.
He's gone.
If Ra-den has been pulled into Ny'alotha, N'Zoth's vision made real, then I do not envy his fate.
From hopelessness to sacrificing himself, believing that there's always a way, Ra-den, he's made quite a lot of progress, and now finds himself trapped in his own worst nightmare, Ny'alotha itself. We have to go after him and confront N'Zoth. Our plan of attack is to stay sane long enough to place down some anchors, which they can use to focus the weapon, the forge, now powered up by the engine, the gifts of the Titans left behind to rid the world of the old god's corruption. The fate of Ra-den, the story of Ny'alotha, that is coming to us Wednesday, so a story that we'll cover next week. If you're wondering the situation with the factions right now, the Horde and Alliance, I'll make a separate video on it, but for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Say that you're looking for more details on the things that we talked about today, guides for the upcoming raids, or just general advice on Battle for Azeroth 8.3. There's a link to a Wowit article in the description down below. You could also decide to subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!